Hello everybody, welcome back to C&S Corvettes in beautiful sunny Sarasota, Florida. It's your Corvette buddy Lyle and the owner of C&S Corvettes, Steve, and we're going to have a conversation today about which Corvette we would choose for a bunch of different situations. A long drive, a weekend cruiser, one to just have in the garage. And we have not discussed this previously. Each of us got a sheet to fill out. We have not discussed this up to this point. So this is going to be us comparing notes on what each of us would choose in this given situation. So to start off today, which Corvette would I choose for a drive to California and back? But I'm going to give my answer after Steve gives his.
Thanks. To drive to California and back, a couple thousand miles each way, I would probably have to go with one of the newer cars only because of the dependability factor and of the thought that if something should go wrong on the road, getting a wheel bearing put in your 63 split window out in the middle of nowhere is kind of an undoable task. So for that drive, I would probably take something C5 or newer. Probably a C6 Z06 would be my first choice. Of course, I'm kind of discounting the C8s and all the very new stuff because that's kind of a given. So if we're talking about cool Corvettes, that would be my choice. And yours?
Well, I've actually done the exact opposite. I decided that if I'm going to drive to California and back, going through a bunch of different elevations, environments, and weather, I would choose the C8 E-Ray. The suspension on that car is designed for grand touring. It's got all-wheel drive, so if you do get into some slippery conditions, sleet, whatever, you're going to have the assurance of being able to keep that car firmly planted. And I think it would just be a very enjoyable car to just crush a continent with. So that's what I would do. Now, on another note, what car, if you could pick any Corvette, would you choose for a good weekend cruise? Not going too far away from home, but going out east and having some fun, driving down Main Street, getting dinner, just to really enjoy the car for a day. Which one would you pick?
Being the old guy, I would probably pick a C2, probably a 67 big block car. Could be 65, 6, or 7, but let's say 7. Kind of just for the ground pounding ability. And a little bit of the, hey, look at me, because you don't see them every day. And so I think that's where I would have to go.
Okay. I'm kind of in the same vein. I would choose a 1969 small block coupe because I would enjoy the drive, but I don't personally require the ground pounding bit. But I think the 69 is probably my favorite car to see on the road. And I would love to just be in that and inhabit that car for a day and go out east and visit friends, come back in town, have dinner. I think it would just be fun to have that car to just enjoy without any performance expectations or anything other than the sheer joy of driving it. So for me, 69 small block coupe. Now, what car would you pick for a weekend at Sebring at the track?
C6 Z06. Didn't take long to answer that one, did it? All of the horsepower that you could possibly want. Is it the highest horsepower car out there? Of course not. Do I think I'm a professional driver and I can handle 1,000 horsepower car on one of the most storied tracks in the world that is known as being one of the roughest and most technically difficult tracks in the world? I don't think that'd be a real good idea. It's kind of like putting me in an F-18 and saying, here, go learn to fly. C6 Z06, all the horsepower, all the fun, everything you could want. And that didn't take me long to answer for that one.
Okay. I would choose a C8 Z06. Not because I'm such a good driver that I need that power. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm a very safe, slow driver. I have never spent any time on track, mostly because I really don't fit in anything wearing a helmet. However, just to go around the track listening to the music that engine makes would make my entire year. I would love that experience. And I like dual clutch. I enjoy paddle shifting. So I would think that would be the most fun for me. Although I promise he would have a better time around the track like on the stopwatch, I would have a great time just internally enjoying the music and the drama of that drive.
I'm going to add to that. I like the actually manually shifting the car. There are so many advantages to the dual clutch. There really are. But the actual ability to participate more intrigues me.
And I agree with you. I love driving my old Z06. I love manual shift. The problem is, in a performance aspect, my giant size 16 feet and my knees in the dash make heel towing and all the things you need to do to be proficient on track pretty much impossible. And with the dual clutch, it gets the clown shoes out of the way. So now this is one of my favorite categories. Of all the Corvettes ever made, what would you choose to just have as a static display in your garage? Now, this isn't a car that you're going to take out on the street. This is something you own simply because you believe it is beautiful and you want to sit there in your garage with a nice drink, occasionally rub it with a diaper, and just really enjoy looking at it.
Probably my first choice would be a 63 split window. As a driver's car, they suck. They have drum brakes. They don't like to turn. They don't like to stop, and they don't really go fast. But for the beauty of what it is and the unique qualities that it exhibits, the first of the Stingrays, the only split window, blah, blah, blah. If I was just going to go out and go, yeah, that's me, 63 split.
Okay. I would choose, and this is based on some of your experiences and some of the stories you've told me from the Corvettes you've owned in the past. I would choose a 1962 Corvette in fawn beige. That car, we've had a couple in here over the 30 odd years I've been here. Steve's owned a couple of fawn beige cars, and to me, that is just one of the most beautiful objects ever placed on four wheels. I can't even get in the car. There's no way in the world I could ever drive it. But boy, would I love to sit in my garage and just go, yeah, that's my car. Okay. Now, shifting gears again. What car would you pick if you were going to do an investment grade car, something that would have sustained value regardless of what changes happen in the world over the next 10 to 20 years?
Again, being the old guy, I'm going to lean towards the older cars because I see them more as art. The design on the new cars, it's art in its own form, and I'm not trying to take that away from it. But for something that is going to have artistic value as much as automotive value, probably have to go back to that same 63 split window. We've seen the prices on those cars. There were days when you couldn't give a split window away. You can't see out of the back of them. They leak, blah, blah, blah. Look at the value of those cars today. And if we're looking at sustained value, not my personal preference to have the car and, go out and, as Lyle said, rub it with a diaper and have an adult beverage next to it, I'd still have to go with the 63 split.
You and I agree on this one wholeheartedly. I would also pick the 63 split window because even if we get to the point in the world where cars of this age are not allowed on public roads anymore, just as art, that car is going to maintain a given value. And I don't ever think that is going to go down to where it isn't worth having the car.
We're on the same page.
Okay. What car would you pick out of this group for a daily driver? Something that you would, Steve drives about 25 miles each way to work every day. So he spends a great deal more time in a daily driver than I would because I live close. What would you choose?
I'd probably go with a C8. All the creature comforts and amenities that you could want. Taking into account some of the maintenance issues on the newer cars, the necessity of very expensive DCT oil changes at unreasonable intervals, some of the other problems that the car has. But overall, to get in and drive it every day and know it was going to be rain or shine, go for it, have to be a C8. Not necessarily as a badass car, just an everyday base car would be fine.
Okay. And you obviously wouldn't go with a convertible because you, even on your convertibles, you
No.
never put the top
I
down.
never put the tops down.
And yeah, one LT or two LT at the most. Would you do a
Yes.
Z51 package?
Yeah, I would do a Z51.
I agree. I think that's about the best deal
Yeah.
going as far as an options package.
And going back to convertibles, here in Florida, it's either cold as can be, like it is today. You know, it got down to 30 degrees last night, and that's pretty bad in Southwest Florida. But as soon as it warms up, it's going to jump from 30 degrees to like 94. And you're going to put the top down maybe at nighttime, but you're not going to drive around in the sun, in traffic, where you're sitting out there in front of God and everybody cooking your brains out. Convertible is just not practical for that.
I agree. I would choose for my daily driver a C5 Z06, which I just so happen to own, and I do drive it here from time to time. The only reason I don't drive it here every day is because it sits outside next to a body shop all day long in the Florida sun, and my car's black, and I'd like to remain black. So I don't drive it every day, but I every time I drive that car, I've owned it for years, I just feel happy. And nothing is better either on the way to work or headed home from work than to feel happy. And it's got its own value above and beyond whatever the car's worth dollar-wise, whatever it does for me in a performance aspect, just that feeling of contentment, happiness, and like hanging out with a friend. And I wouldn't change that. So finally, out of all these different aspects of Corvette ownership, which do you believe does it the best? If you had to pick one to fill all of these criteria, which one would you pick?
Tough field to choose from. Probably for my own personal likes, C5 Z06, which I just happen to own one. It's got all the guts that you need. It's got all the eyeball that you need. It's a dependable car. I like the C6 as well, but the C5 is a little less electronic. I feel more like I'm part of the car in a C5 rather than a C6 makes me feel a little bit more like I'm along for the ride. Mm-hmm. I like some of the analog qualities of the car, not the gauges and stuff, of course, but I think it just gives a better driver feel. And it'll go as fast as you want. It'll go anywhere you want. It can be fixed pretty much anywhere you want. I think it fills all of those criteria pretty well, you know, even to driving around Sebring, which is what I do with my car. Not necessarily a competitive driver, but I haven't crashed it yet, and I've got a lot of fun.
Knock on wood.
Yes.
So what you're saying, I think what I'm hearing from you is that with the C5, you feel more like a pilot and less like a systems manager.
Yes, exactly. Well put.
Yeah, that makes sense. My answer is different, but kind of in the same vein as what Steve said. I would pick a C6 Grand Sport manual coupe. Only because if I was going to do everything, the trip to California and back, something I can look at in the garage and really admire, all a daily driver, all that stuff. The C6 Grand Sport manual coupe has almost all of the good performance goodies that come on the Z06 in a much more manageable, dailyable package. It's got the LS3, which is basically unkillable. I am comfortable enough in a C6 Grand Sport to drive it every day, which, you know, there aren't many Corvettes that I am. But I also believe that for just everyday life, it does have one level above the C5 Z06 in comfort, which I'm going to be spending all my time in this car. I would want the additional sound deadening and stuff just to make things a little more peaceful when I wanted it to be peaceful. It's pretty much where I come from.
We disagree on some. We agree on some. I think we both have valid points. Of course, I'm right and he's not.
Well, you are the boss. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that pretty well covers it. I think that we've both been pretty realistic in surveying the qualities and problems of some of the cars. Everybody has their own idea. Tell us about yours, send us a note. See your thoughts on it.
Yeah, put your thoughts on what you would choose for these different categories in the comments below. And perhaps in the near future, we can do a follow-up video on what some of your lists were and some of your reasons why you chose particular cars. Because this is a great conversation to have with any of your Corvette buddies, or even just with us online. It's a great thought exercise, and it does make you appreciate what a wide range of capabilities and stuff the Corvette offers.
I'm curious to see your take on these things, because there are so many different attributes and aspects of it. There's going to be a lot of stuff that I and both I and Lyle didn't think of, and your opinion, your thoughts is going to broaden our scope. So give it a shot.
Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you soon.